At Fully Charged, who do I run into? Jason from Abetterrouterplanner. Okay, Jason, what do you do in normal life?
Well, I work in ISS mission control. I'm one of the avionics specialists, so I keep the computers and the satellite antennas running on the International Space Station.
Yeah. So that's what we really like. Our Dutch Kuipers are basically our Dutch astronauts. So in your free time, you make a Abetterrouterplanner, right?
I do, yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's a labor of love. We put a lot of work into it to make it easy to drive anywhere you want in an electric car.
And so you do it together with a Swedish guy?
Yeah, Bo in Sweden, and now Mark and Richard as well. There's a couple of us, and we're putting a lot of hard work into it.
Yeah. And you do it out of love, you do it out of hobby, there's no business model yet?
There's a little bit of a business model. We're trying to get it running, and once we make money, we will be very happy to keep our servers running too.
But you have such an interesting job, you don't want to quit yet?
Yeah, not yet.
Okay, so let's talk about the issues there are when you want to basically make a router planner. What are the biggest, what's the difficult part?
So there's a lot of difficult parts. The core problem is actually relatively easy once you put some elbow grease into it. There's finding the charging stations and figuring out how to get from station to station. That can be done by us and some hard work and some brains.
So the database of chargers, is that your database? And do you basically build it up, or do you just connect to a couple of hubs?
And so that is the real challenge. Right now, charging is the Wild West of charging. Every charging network has their own database, their own system that connects to their chargers, and it makes it very difficult for us to kind of consolidate all of that into one good database of data that we can use to plan.
Are they open? Do they want to give you is there APIs or basically scraping that you use to basically get that database of chargers?
Yeah, so that's what we'd like to see, and some car companies actually have that available to us. Most of them, though, we rely on third-party databases. So here in the US, there's the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, there's the Open Charge Map, which is worldwide, and then there's a number of smaller databases, spreadsheets that are maintained by users that we use to scrape, and we scrape those once a day to see if there's new chargers. If we know a database updates more frequently, we'll update that more often as well.
And you work in America, you also work in Europe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In fact, Bo, who started the project, works in Europe. He's in Lund.
And he says that's very close to Holland. Wow. Okay, that's you can say that's true.
Relatively speaking, it's much closer to Holland than it is to Texas.
That's totally true. Hey, and then other things like the mapping information and the basic routing algorithm. Where does that come from? Which products do you build?
So we've taken from other open source projects. We've got OpenStreetMap for the where the roads are, and then the open source routing machine is how we figure out how to get from place to place and how long it's going to take, and the speeds that you drive on each of those routes.
So those are the big open source plug. And how good are they?
They're actually very good. One of the things that we had some trouble with early on was determining the right speeds on each road, because you can kind of feed that into OpenStreetMap and into the routing machine. We've got that figured out, and it should be very accurate now.
And then basically the optimization which you do of which charger to pick and what kind of preferences you have. That's the thing you did yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. So to do the full route, what you need to know is how much energy you consume between each charger and then how much to charge at each of those chargers. And so given that input information, we can calculate, based on what speed you're driving, based on the elevation you're going up and down, you can calculate how much battery you're going to use and then predict how much charge you're going to need before that leg of the trip. And then, of course, the optimization comes in comparing how long that takes in total.
Yeah, because, I mean, one of the most asked questions is, should I drive fast and charge often, or should I drive slow and charge less?
Well, it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to just get there as fast as possible, it's generally, but not always, better to drive fast and charge often.
You need to have the battery as low as possible, because then the highest speed is possible.
Exactly.
Because I would love to have a little bit more alternative, saying you have this strategy and that kind of strategy. There should be a little bit more optimization. Then you are on a bunch of different platforms, right? I can use you on the Tesla. If you want to be in the Tesla and want to use other charging platforms, Abetterrouterplanner is the way to go, and it works even in a shitty browser like Tesla.
It does. It might be a little slow, though. So you know, it's something.
It works.
It is.
Tried it. Yeah.
And Bo has an older Model S that he tests it on regularly. So hopefully we've got optimizations coming down the pipe to help make it better.
But it works. And then you have an app and you can do it in the browser, right?
Absolutely. We're on Android, we're on iOS, and hopefully eventually we'll support Android Auto and CarPlay for both of those.
How many users, how many people use it per month?
Ooh, we've got a lot now. I haven't checked our monthly totals for the last. We've been growing so fast it's hard to keep track.
Order.
Oh, we're in, I think we are 30,000 or so returning users.
Per month.
Per month. Daily, I think.
Daily? Okay, that's a lot more.
Yeah. And we just hit 13 million total plans. And we are just growing crazily.
So it's growing crazy, and I cannot basically support you, right? I cannot say, hey, here's $10 per year because I'm really happy about that.
We do have a PayPal link on the old website on the Abetterrouterplanner.com. We're still working out how to offer that in the apps themselves because
Google is no problem.
Yeah.
Google's no problem. Apple wants 30%.
Yes, exactly. So that's something we're working out. And
but if you put it in the app, then you can basically put a link to the website and then basically have it there and make it. But I think you're doing good enough job. Okay, then 13 million plans. Mm-hmm. You could make beautiful, heat maps of who's driving where, which supercharger is used a lot. I mean, you can do a lot with data. Data is the new oil. You have a lot of oil.
That's true. And we have a lot of oil in the form of live data from the cars. So we can figure out, where people are charging, how fast they're charging, what the actual capabilities of chargers are, or what the actual capabilities of the cars are. Because that's something that manufacturers are surprisingly stingy about. They don't necessarily want you to know the poor parts of their car's performance. They just want to know what sounds impressive.
So when are you going to publish that? I mean, you're on top of it. You could make money that way.
Well, actually, if you go on our blog, on our Abetterrouterplanner.com, there's a link there. And you can actually read where we've done analysis of live data that has been contributed by our users. We've got range plots. We've got charging plots for all of the models we support.
So you're doing already something that you could sell. I mean, from a large, you basically give an overview for free, and detailed you could sell. That could be a good business.
I suppose, but at the same time, we want to maintain the trust of our consumers and our users. So
you don't do it per person. You do it in groups, anonymous.
This is true. I mean, there's a certain level of de-anonymization that would have to happen, and we already do a lot of that to preserve our users' anonymity. And we're very, very cautious about who gets access to our information and how they use it.
Oh, well, but all these charging places, all these charging stations, they want to know where everybody's charging and where they should put in more. That's legitimate business use. It's not mean and horrible, terrible people. That's
true. One of the things we floated as an idea is providing a service where we're not giving them the data, but we're performing that analysis to say, hey, we think you would be well served by a charger in this location. And it's not something that we've fully explored yet, but it is an idea.
How good is the infrastructure in America, and where are the biggest problems?
Well, ever since Electrify America came online, it's gotten a lot better. Before that, most of
and for the people who don't know that, Electrifying America was a project which came out of a good crisis.
It did. Volkswagen's Dieselgate problem was the driver there. Yeah. And
billions. They paid billions in the fine, and then somebody says, we're not going to give it to the government, we're going to make a fast charging network, and they did a good job. How many did they do now?
Oh, so they're in the thousands now, and installs anyway, and it's been great. I've charged there myself a number of times, and I've never been to an Electrify America station where I've not been able to charge.
Okay, what car do you have?
I have a Chevy Bolt.
So you don't have Tesla?
Nope, not yet.
How good is Electrifying America compared to Tesla?
So I've rented Teslas, and I really enjoy the experience there. I can't wait till Electrify America brings the plug-in charge on, where you can drive up, plug it in, and then drive away or walk away while it's charging automatically.
And how's the installed base of Electrifying America compared to Tesla?
So they definitely don't have as good coverage as Tesla, but they're getting there. And they're covering most of the big interstate highways, and The range between them is actually pretty good. It's
You can, with your Chevy Bolt, you can go everywhere now.
exactly. There's nowhere in the U.S. I can't go with it.
How much is it per kilowatt hour?
So they charge by the minute, and it depends on how fast you're charging.
50 kilowatt?
So Electrify Americas goes all the way up to 350 kilowatts.
And then still per minute?
Yep. And as long as you got the membership pricing, it's fairly reasonable.
And you keep you ask me when I basically install my app, and you say what car do you have, what model, and you basically take that into account, optimizing the route.
Exactly, because how fast a car charges and how far it can go depends greatly on which car you're driving.
So would your system be useful to put into all kinds of new cars? Because most car manufacturers cannot make a system like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something that's fairly complicated to implement. And a lot of the quirks in planning a route for an electric car really only show themselves after you've been driving.
Do you give that white label?
Yeah, we offer that as a service. We are actively reaching out to manufacturers to see if anyone's interested.
And even Tesla could use it because, I mean, they don't offer all the other chargers, they just ignore. And what about the other car manufacturers? How's Volkswagen? Do they do anything useful in that arena?
So since we haven't seen a full range Volkswagen out, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
The new model is being produced, but the software is not ready. They need to have the over-the-air component needs to be ready.
Yeah, they had to go out and plug some stuff in to update their software. But they've been saying they're going to do over-the-air, so even if they launch it, we can still hopefully help them out.
You live in California, right?
Texas, actually.
Texas. Okay. So where do people have cars in America? I mean, if you have California and a teeny little bit around Austin, Texas, is there any other places around in America where electric car is anywhere?
Actually, electric cars are surprisingly popular in Texas.
The Texas you have a little bit, and you have a lot in California, but in the rest of America, is there? You can see it every day. You see these people. So what areas are developing and which areas are deserts?
So there's a few deserts, mostly in the north where there's not a lot of people. And it really varies depending on the state's credits and rebates that they offer.
Yeah, but for example, East Coast, is there any kind of state which is doing okay?
Well, I know on the East Coast, especially on the Northeast, and even through the middle of the coast, they're actually fairly popular. In the Southeast, I'm not real sure. No. Yeah.
Okay, but it's really, I mean, you have worldwide Norway, you have China, you have Holland, you have California, a little bit of Texas, and for the rest, the whole world is still developing.
Yeah.
You basically know exactly. You know all that stuff because all these people will immediately basically start to use your app. How exciting is it to have a product there where you have your finger at the pulse?
It's very exciting. It's a lot of responsibility on our part, and it's really cool to get all the feedback we do and all the ideas that come our way on how we can improve it.
Any new functionality we can expect? Is this something you want to do?
Yeah. Actually, there's a couple of them. The one that we're trying to do right now is build out a really accurate calibration system where when you have live data and you drive, it automatically calibrates to the conditions that you're driving in. If you've got a headwind, if it's extra cold or extra hot, and it'll adjust the plan to the way you're actually driving.
Just when you have I want to give you my username, password of my or token of my Tesla, so you basically can get live data out of my car. Why don't you? Is that something you're going to do?
That's already supported, actually. Yeah.
Oh, really? I can trust you with my data, and then you use the live data to adjust my route.
Exactly, and we're very careful with the tokens and the passwords
because I mean they can basically drive away with my car. I mean I have to trust this guy and his crazy suite with my token.
Yep, and we're going to summon it all the way to Texas. But no, when you give us your credentials, it's never stored permanently. It's only stored in volatile storage, we call it, where if anyone gets in, it gets flushed.
Robert, thank you very much. Oh no, Jason.
Yes.
This was Jason. And every car manufacturer talked to the Jason or the guy in, or what is his name in Sweden?
Bo.
Bo at Abetterrouterplanner, because they have really good stuff. It's something we need in every car, and it normally excuse me, Lemo, it sucks. Normally the route planner just is horrible. And it goes from Nissan Leaf, which I basically have been having for a long time, and it is in the Opel and the General Motors, everywhere. It's really not good. Just they have it. It's not expensive, couple of bucks a year per car, and you have a good route planner, right? And
absolutely. Talk to us and we will get you hooked up.